Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about a game series that I feel like is honestly unheard of these days, and it's a really good game series. The one that can describe it is if Sherlock Holmes fell into his own twisted version of the back room. And this series is called The Room. And it's a mobile series, so I'm on my computer, so I can't really show you. But it's really deep and mystifying, and is not really you can't really describe it in words. You have to play it for yourself. But what I'll do today, I want to give a summary of this three. Well, actually, no, four and some I guess five game series now. That honestly, I feel like is a- just it's a great series. So the room. In so there's five games in the series. Is the first one is called The Room. It's a pocket edition. Then there's The Room 2, The Room 3. Then there's The Room Old Sins. And then there's a fifth game that is on VR. And I don't remember what that one's called. I don't remember. I haven't played that one in a while since I haven't been on my Oculus in a while, so I can't give you a summary of that one. But I can give you a summary of the first of the other four. The room centers around and it seems you're an investigator and you're investigating this strange house where some occurrences have been where occurrences have been just weird things has been happening, like like things being warping, like dimensions are weird, so, like the back rooms things aren't as they seem. You investigate the house and you come across this box. It's a big puzzle box, and as you investigate and dig deeper into this puzzle box, you come across notes left by someone that only refers to themselves as A. And A seems to have been a scientist who was on the cusp. Oh, and this takes place like Victorian era, right? But A was on the cusp of discovering a new element and called just the null. Oh, oh, and this element could warp realities, make gateways between worlds. And he was on the cusp of discovering how to harness this power, and he did. If you once you get deep enough into the game, and you come across this null, and it takes you to uh, basically the back rooms. And then you go into the second game, and you find yourself in this catacomb, in place of catacombs, endless catacombs. You come across more notes left by A, and you find he has been lost in this endless dimensional labyrinth for a very long time. And you're following in his footsteps, finding his letters. You go through the catacombs, then you go through another door, and you on a old ship. It go through another door, and you're in a old Mayan temple. Oh. And as you go through these areas, you find that they're all linked by by one common thing. That these places all housed the Knoll at some point. Well, and um, the catacombs was just the entry. The pirate ship it got the sh- the pirate ship was sunk while tracking down the ship that was carrying a null. The ship they were tracking down got the null from the Mayan temple temple. And eventually the null fell, and eventually you get to a room which is old seance parlor, and it seems to be completely haunted. Paranormal occurrences happen everywhere. Once you get far enough, you finally find him, A himself, dead. And he has been there for ages, could not find his way out of his labyrinth, and he's just a skeleton. But then you open his fob watch, and he has the null. And the null takes you to a lab that has been studying the null. Uh-oh. Well, and you finally figure out a way to get back home. You manage to harness the null's abilities and configure it to make a door that leads you back to the house, A's home, where you found the first puzzle box where it all began. Once you leave, the null comes alive, starts chasing you, chases you out of the house, destroys it, disappearing in a flash of light. Light. And that's when the second game ends. The third game begins and ends with you're still the same character, and you get this letter from someone only known as the Craftsman. And and this letter has a map on the back leading to you to an unknown island. And so you go there. But then while on the train goes in a tunnel, and suddenly you get transported to the island itself. the craftsman is revealed to be someone who makes keys to these doors that the Knoll creates. It's it's and you and what you do is you go to different parts of the island and you go to a map room that has all different parts of the island. Then you go to a then you go to a forge where the keys are created. You go to the observatory or where um where something is being tracked and you figure out eventually that something that's it's all connected to Mars. There are ruins on Mars, and these ruins are connected to the Knoll. Well, and in the third game in particular, it well, if you it's not just unlike the first two games where you just had to complete puzzles and move on. In the third game, there are other secrets hidden in the map, and if you uncover these secrets, you can unlock new endings until you eventually get to the true ending, which is you find yourself on Mars. You open the last door and you find yourself on Mars once more, and you go into the pyramid. That's when the third game ends. The fourth game, The Room, Old Sins. You start off with a different character. It's kind of it feels like the exit. You have a big briefcase, and again you're at another house this time. Another house with supernatural occurrences, dimensions warping beyond imagining. A family has disappeared from this home. You come to investigate. Eight, and you come to investigate. And along the way, you discover that this family has found another or trace of Null, like a different. Well, they have found another version of this element. Not another version, another trace of it. Like the Null that A had was one clump of the Null, but this family somehow found other, and it tore them apart. It would change the husband, and only the wife would come out alive. I've and in this house, you go to the attic and find this dollhouse, and in it you see the story of the family unfold. You explore the different rooms, uncover what happened to it, until you finally come across the Knoll once again. Then in the ending, what happens next is this is a weird ending. You go back, you go to the secret organization that seems to be he, he having all these Knoll fragments, and they seem to be collecting them for something. You know, and that's the story of the room, at least except for the VR game, which is that I haven't played in a while, so I don't really remember the summary. But I do remember that it does center around the craftsman again. And but anyway, The Room is a really good, fast-game mystery game. Mystery is series of mystery games. It's really good and just well made. The gameplay is really good too. In all the games, you have this eyepiece, like a monocle kind of, but it helps you see see the unseen, see traces of what only the null element leaves behind, messages. Because in the second game, at the end of the first game, hey, the eyepiece is broken. In the second game, you get a new one. In the third game, you get to configure the eyepiece. He's, in the fourth game, you have an eyepiece also. And the games are really good too. They're only like $3.99 each. And the original has a bit of DLC, and that's just the epilogue. But the epilogue does lead you into the second game, so I recommend getting that. Well, it's just a really good series of games, and I don't think there'll ever be anything like this again, except for another series that I do want to talk about also. This is called The House of Da Vinci. This is a 3 game series. It centers and as you can see, it centers around Da Vinci, but quickly comes its own thing. In the first house, there's House of Da Vinci, House of Da Vinci 2, and House of Da Vinci 3, of course. In the first House of Da Vinci, you are Leonardo da Vinci's assistant, and while you're going to his home to check up on him, you see a big explosion from a tower that he was working on a new big project. You go into his house to investigate. As you go inside, you're getting followed by some unknown people in red cloaks, and another person who somehow seems familiar. At the end of the game, you find out that Leonardo da Vinci has been building an ultimate invention, a time machine. In, and he has gone through it to escape something that has been pursuing him. You follow in after one of the people being chasing you, who falls and tackles you, and you fall forward. No thanks, Lorm. Um, but then right at the end, you'll see a lot of people looking at you in those red cloaks. Then in the second game, you see your own history. It turns out you were a prisoner, a prisoner that was locked away for life for unknown crimes. But at uh, but at a but a high-ranking nobleman by the name I think it was I don't remember the name, but he frees you. He's been looking to Leonardo da Vinci because he wants to use his inventions for monetary profit. Leonardo da Vinci and he wants to get someone on the inside so he can sell off all his plans and stuff. Uh, and and that person is you. And so you go to Leonardo da Vinci as an an inside job, but you quickly grow attached to him. Attached to him, and you quickly turn sides. Eventually, eventually things come to a head, and that leads into the first game. Then um, but um, but then and but then the game begins anew, and you find out that you've gone 7 years into the past, and what and the next thing you and Leonard have to do is try to find out who the secret order is. Secret order that's been chasing you. Uh-oh. And it turns out the guy that tackled you in the portal was the guy who had employed you at the beginning of it. He had lost his fortune due to unknown things, somehow to the secret society. Anyway, you go into this monastery, it seems to be the headquarters of the secret church, and find this this book detailing their history, how they found this artifact and just wanted to protect it. And then at the last moment, the place gets invaded by the order, and the machine you used to the the machine you've been using to go back in time here and there is shattering. You go into like the vortex. Then the third game, you got to finish it all. Well, I can't explain that one. That was a lot of stuff. You had to see it for yourself. But my point is, these two series of games, The Room and House of Da Vinci, are games I don't think will ever really see the likes of their level of beauty again. And they have mysteries, they're deep lore, or they're puzzling in a lot of ways actually. I used to play these, and some puzzles were actually pretty hard. Like the Room 2 puzzles extremely hard for me. Probably Room was always hardest. But yeah, they're games I don't think we'll ever see the likes of again, especially not on mobile in this new age. But I just wanted to say all that because I feel like it's something not a lot of people know about. And these games, I grew up with them. These are my games. Well, not mine. Well, these are the games I loved and played, at least on mobile. You know. So yeah, that's all I just want to say today. Um, so if anyone's listening, check out these games. They are really good. They just really are. Oh, just a sec.